You ever notice how your mind never shuts up? Like, seriously, it's like a radio that doesn't have an off button, and half the time it's tuned to some static-filled station that just keeps saying, "What if you embarrass yourself again?" Or, "They probably don't like you." Joseph Nguyen in Don't Believe Everything You Think basically calls this out for what it is: a trick your brain plays on you. He says most of us live our whole lives assuming every thought that pops into our head is some deep truth we must obey, analyze, or stress over. But that's the illusion, the great mental magic show. The mind spits out random thoughts 24/7 and we take them way too seriously. It's like believing every advertisement you see online. Just because it's loud, emotional, and persistent doesn't mean it's true. Imagine sitting in traffic, someone cuts you off, and your brain goes, "Wow, that person's the worst human alive." You start ranting, maybe honking, maybe inventing whole backstories about how they're a terrible person who ruins lives. But a few minutes later you find out you were just late, hungry, and stressed. That thought wasn't reality, it was just a passing cloud. That's Nguyen's whole point. Thoughts are like clouds in the sky of your mind. Some are dark and stormy, some are light and fluffy, but none of them are the sky itself. The sky is your awareness, the calm, clear, steady part of you that watches everything come and go. But because we've never been taught to see that difference, we chase every cloud like it's a UFO sighting. It's kind of funny when you think about it. Your brain says, "Hey, maybe your friend's mad at you because they didn't text back." And instead of saying, "Thanks for your input, brain," we grab that thought like it's breaking news. We replay it, analyze it, dissect it, and next thing you know we're crafting emotional soap operas in our heads. When the truth is they were probably just watching Netflix or taking a nap. Nguyen wants us to see that our suffering isn't caused by what's happening in the world. It's caused by the way we believe our thoughts about what's happening. It's not the person cutting you off, it's your belief that they shouldn't have. It's not the breakup, it's the story your mind tells you that you'll never be happy again. Our minds are amazing tools but terrible masters. They're designed to solve problems, not define reality. Back in the caveman days, that constant chatter helped us stay alive. What was that sound? Is it a tiger? Better run. But today that same chatter's just yelling, "What if I said something awkward in that meeting 3 years ago? And what if everyone secretly thinks I'm weird?" It's outdated software running on new hardware. The problem is we've never learned how to hit mute. Nguyen says we mistake the content of thought for truth. Just because a thought feels strong doesn't mean it's real. Feelings are just the body's response to what we're thinking. If you think scary thoughts, you feel fear. If you think peaceful thoughts, you feel calm. The feeling doesn't prove the thought, it just proves you believed it for a second. Picture this, you're watching a scary movie, your heart's racing, palms sweaty, and then the credits roll and you laugh. What? Because even though it felt real, it was just a movie. That's how thoughts work too. They project scenes on the screen of your mind, and if you forget it's just a movie, you'll suffer through every jump scare. The trick is to remember you're the audience, not the character trapped in the film. Nguyen isn't saying we should ignore all thoughts or pretend to be robots. Thoughts are useful. You need them to plan dinner, do homework, or decide whether to take an umbrella. But it's about realizing you don't have to believe every single one. Some thoughts are like spam emails. You don't need to open them, you just hit delete. The more you see that, the lighter life feels. Imagine not being dragged around by every worry or doubt your brain throws at you. It's like finally realizing that magician on stage didn't actually cut someone in half. Here's a fun way to test this. Next time your mind says something dramatic like, "Everyone's judging you," pause and ask, "Is that a fact or just a thought?" Watch what happens. Usually, the thought fizzles out because it has no evidence. It's like shining a flashlight on a shadow. You see there's nothing really there. Nguyen calls this freedom, being able to experience thoughts without becoming them. You can observe the mind doing its thing like watching kids play tag. You don't have to jump in every time they scream. But man, we humans love drama. The mind says, "You're not good enough," and instead of laughing we take it as a holy commandment. We start self-improvement projects, compare ourselves to others, and build entire identities around insecurity. When saying, "Hey, what if you stopped believing that voice altogether? What if you realized it's just a voice, sometimes scared, sometimes overprotective, sometimes just bored?" Once you see that, the mind loses its power over you. Think of your awareness like a movie screen. No matter how many explosions, tears, or romantic comedies play on it, the screen itself never changes. It's untouched. That's you, the awareness underneath all the noise. When you believe every thought, you forget you're the screen and start thinking you're the movie. You start living as the drama instead of witnessing it. But once you realize the truth, you can sit back with your popcorn and say, "Ah, there goes my mind again, always dramatic." Nguyen also reminds us that peace isn't something you find by fixing every thought, it's what's left when you stop believing them. It's already there underneath the noise. You don't have to earn it. Imagine your mind like a snow globe that's been shaken all your life. Thoughts are the swirling flakes. The peace comes when you stop shaking it. Slowly the snow settles and you see clearly again. That clarity was always there, you just couldn't see it through the storm. Now you might think, okay fine, but my thoughts feel so real. And yeah, they do. They sound like you. They use your voice. But they're not you. If you can notice your thoughts, then there must be a you that's separate from them, the observer. You're the one who sees the clouds, not the cloud itself. Nguyen says that simple realization changes everything. You stop taking the mind's commentary so seriously. You start laughing more, letting things go faster, and realizing most of your problems were never real, they were mental pop-ups. And here's the best part. Once you stop identifying with every thought, life gets lighter, funnier even. The mind says, you're going to mess up that presentation, and you can reply, thanks for the vote of confidence, brain. You start to see that thoughts are just suggestions, not orders. They're like YouTube recommendations, sometimes accurate, often weird, and definitely not mandatory. So yeah, Nguyen's message is simple but powerful. Don't believe everything you think. Because your mind's job is to think, it's not to tell the truth. It's like a talk show host, it'll say anything to fill airtime. Once you see that, you stop trying to control every thought and instead just let them come and go. You know that feeling when your brain just won't shut up? You're trying to sleep but your mind is like, hey, remember that awkward thing you said in 8th grade? Or, what if your boss secretly hates your outfit? Welcome to the wonderful world of overthinking, where your brain plays every possible version of reality except the one that's actually happening. Joseph Nguyen says we overthink because deep down we're scared and we crave control. Our brains are like that overprotective friend who means well but keeps making things worse. They try to predict everything that could go wrong so we don't get hurt, but in the process, they stress us out more than any real situation ever could. Think about it. The human brain's main job is survival. Back in caveman days this was useful. What's that sound? Could be a tiger. Better not sleep. That kind of overthinking kept us alive. But fast forward a few thousand years and now our biggest threat isn't a tiger. It's a delayed text message. Still, the brain doesn't know the difference. It reacts like, danger. They haven't replied in 2 hours. You're clearly being ghosted. Life is over. Meanwhile, they're just watching Netflix with their phone on silent. The brain's trying to protect you from emotional pain the same way it once protected cavemen from predators. The problem is, this ancient alarm system is now running in a modern world full of Wi-Fi, traffic, and performance reviews. It's like using dinosaur instincts to survive in a Starbucks. Nguyen explains that overthinking is basically your mind's way of saying, if I can just figure everything out right now, nothing bad will happen. It's like your brain's trying to be a time traveler, predicting every outcome so you can avoid mistakes, pain, or embarrassment. But that's impossible, right? Life's too unpredictable. Yet our brain doesn't get that memo, it's addicted to control. It wants to know how things will turn out, who will say what, and whether we'll survive tomorrow's meeting without sounding dumb. It thinks if it just runs every possible scenario we'll find peace. But instead, we end up mentally exhausted, anxious, and about as peaceful as a squirrel on espresso. Here's the real kicker. The more we try to think our way to peace, the further we get from it. Because peace isn't found in thinking, it's found in not needing to think. Imagine you're in a car and the GPS keeps rerouting because it doesn't trust you're on the right path. That's your mind. It doesn't trust the present moment, so it keeps recalculating. What if you make the wrong choice? What if you look stupid? What if this isn't the best possible outcome? It's endless. You start to feel like you can't breathe until you've found the perfect answer, but perfection never comes. It's like trying to calm the ocean by splashing around. It just creates more waves. Let's be real, overthinking feels productive. You feel like you're doing something important. I'm solving the problem. I'm being smart. But you're not solving anything. You're just looping. The brain confuses motion for progress. It's like a hamster running in a wheel thinking it's training for a marathon. Nguyen points out that most of our mental noise is just fear wearing a logical disguise. The brain says, I just want to make sure, but what it really means is, I don't want to get hurt. That's the root of it. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of regret. And control is the brain's favorite shield against fear. If I can control everything, it thinks, nothing bad can happen. But ironically, trying to control everything is what creates the suffering. We overthink because we're terrified of uncertainty. Our brains want to guarantee that everything will be okay before we take a step. But life doesn't work like that. It's inherently unpredictable. You can't know if that new job will be great or if that relationship will last. The moment we try to predict every detail, we disconnect from reality and spiral into what-ifs. What if they don't like me? What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? It's like your brain becomes a paranoid lawyer arguing every possible case against your happiness. And the judge? Overthinking is self-cross-examination gone wild. The irony is, we think overthinking makes us smarter, but it actually makes us more confused. Ever notice how after hours of mental debate, you feel less sure than when you started? That's because the mind starts chasing its own tail. Every thought creates a new what-if, and suddenly you're lost in a maze with no exit sign. The truth is, clarity comes from quiet, not chaos. Have you ever taken a walk, listened to music, or showered, and suddenly the answer just popped up? That's because when you stop overthinking, your natural intelligence finally gets room to speak. Peace of mind isn't about controlling your thoughts, it's about letting them settle. Nguyen says the brain's predictions are like weather forecasts. They're rarely accurate, but we still check them constantly. And just like meteorologists, our minds get it wrong all the time. How many times have you stressed for days about something that turned out totally fine? You rehearsed the worst-case scenario and then reality was like, relax, it's not that deep. Yet we keep doing it because fear feels safer than trust. Trust means letting go. It means saying, I don't know what's going to happen, and that's okay. But our brains hate that. They want certainty. They want control. They want to bubble wrap the future so we never get hurt again. But let's be honest, control is an illusion. You can plan, prepare, and worry all day, but life still throws curveballs. You can't stop the unexpected, but you can stop torturing yourself trying to. When you realize that peace doesn't come from knowing everything but from allowing life to unfold, overthinking starts to lose its grip. It's like loosening your mental fist. You stop clutching every thought and suddenly there's space to breathe. If you think about it, most of our biggest regrets come not from what we did, but from what we didn't do because we were overthinking. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? But what if you succeed? What if it's fun? What if it's exactly what you needed? The brain rarely asks those questions. It's too busy scanning for danger. Overthinking convinces us that fear equals safety, but it's really just another form of self-sabotage. Because when you're too busy analyzing life, you're not living it. Here's the funny part, our minds think they're protecting us by overthinking, but they're actually the ones creating the danger. It's like having a security system that keeps going off for no reason. You end up living in constant alarm mode. You start thinking, I can't relax until I figure it all out. But you'll never figure it all out because there's nothing to figure out. Life is uncertain by design. Peace isn't something you think your way into. It's what you return to when you stop trying to control everything. So maybe next time your brain starts spiraling, running through every possible future disaster, you can smile and say, thanks for trying to help, but I've got this. It's like patting your over-anxious inner assistant on the shoulder and telling them to take a coffee break. The truth is, you don't need to predict or protect against every outcome. You just need to be present. The future will take care of itself when it arrives. Until then, your job is to live now. You ever notice how two people can go through the exact same situation and have totally different reactions? Like one person misses the bus and goes, ah well, guess I'll grab a coffee and chill, while the other one's spiraling like, my life is falling apart, nothing ever works for me, this is the worst day ever. Same event, completely different movie playing in their heads. That right there is what Joseph Nguyen means when he says suffering doesn't come from events themselves. It comes from our mental commentary about those events. It's not life that hurts us, it's our thoughts about life. The event is neutral. The story we tell ourselves about it? That's where all the drama starts. Think about it. You spill your coffee in the morning. That's just a thing that happened. But your brain swoops in like a talk show host. Of course this happened. This always happens. You're so clumsy, what's wrong with you? Suddenly it's not just spilled coffee, it's a personal failure, a sign that your entire existence is cursed. Meanwhile, someone else could spill the same coffee and just laugh, grab a napkin and move on with their day. The difference isn't in what happened, it's in what their mind said about what happened. The suffering comes from believing the mental commentary, not from the actual coffee puddle. Our minds are like narrators that never stop talking, and let's be honest, half the time they're terrible narrators. They exaggerate, assume, and jump to wild conclusions. It's like having a sports commentator in your head, but instead of describing what's actually happening, they're adding emotional special effects. And here comes the catastrophic mistake of the century. Bro, chill, it's just traffic. Nguyen basically says we live in this constant stream of inner dialogue, and that's where suffering breeds. The mind creates stories about what should or shouldn't be happening, and when reality doesn't match the story, we suffer. Let's take something simple like getting stuck in a traffic jam. The event itself is neutral, you're just sitting in a car, not moving. But your brain is losing it. Why is this happening to me? I'm going to be late. My whole day's ruined. People are so stupid. And boom, there's your suffering. It's not the traffic causing it, it's your resistance to the fact that traffic exists. The person in the car next to you might be vibing, windows down, singing along to the radio, completely fine. You're both in the same situation, but your inner commentary determines your emotional weather. You created your own thunderstorm. The mind loves to label everything good, bad, success, failure. But life itself doesn't come with labels. It's just stuff happening. Nguyen points out that it's our thinking that turns neutral moments into emotional roller coasters. You lose your job and one voice in your head says, "This is the end of me." Another voice could say, "Maybe this is the push I needed to do something better." The event didn't change, your perspective did. That's why two people can face the same challenge, like a breakup or a financial setback, and one grows from it while the other falls apart. It's all about the story their mind writes. Here's the sneaky part, we're so used to believing our thoughts that we forget we're the ones thinking them. We treat every opinion our mind spits out like it's a sacred truth. They didn't text back? They must not like me. Or, my presentation wasn't perfect, I'm a failure. Those aren't facts. They're interpretations. But because they sound like us, we just nod along and suffer. Nguyen says that suffering happens the moment we start arguing with reality. This shouldn't have happened. That person shouldn't have said that. But reality's like, it did happen. So now what? The more we resist what is, the more pain we feel. It's like life's throwing us pitches, and instead of catching them, we stand there shouting, "That pitch shouldn't exist." Meanwhile, the game keeps going. The root of suffering isn't the pitch, it's our refusal to play. Acceptance doesn't mean you like what's happening, it just means you stop fighting it mentally. You stop turning every inconvenience into an emotional apocalypse. Once you drop the inner commentary, things get surprisingly peaceful. You know how sometimes you go through something rough like a breakup or job loss, and months later you look back and say, "Actually, that was the best thing that ever happened to me"? That's proof that the event itself wasn't suffering, it was the mental story around it. When you were in it, your brain was screaming, "This is terrible." But with time and distance, you saw it differently. So imagine if you could skip the drama in the moment and just trust that your mind doesn't always know what's good or bad right away. That's freedom. Nguyen isn't saying pain doesn't exist. Of course it does. Pain is natural. You lose something, it hurts. But suffering is the extra layer the mind adds. Pain says, "This hurts." Suffering says, "This hurts and it'll never stop, and it means I'm broken." Pain is clean, suffering is messy. Pain passes through, suffering sets up camp. When you see that difference, life becomes lighter. You start realizing you can feel pain without getting trapped in the story about it. We also tend to think the world is happening to us, when really, most of it's happening through us. Our minds take neutral data and give it emotional flavor. Imagine your brain as a movie director who keeps adding dramatic background music to everything. Someone cancels plans and suddenly you're playing sad violins in your head. But if you strip away the soundtrack, you realize, oh, they just canceled plans. That's it. The rest is imagination. Here's a fun experiment. Next time something annoying happens, try to notice your mind's first reaction. That instant judgment, "This sucks," that's the source of suffering. Then ask, is this situation actually bad, or am I just thinking it's bad? 9 times out of 10 you'll realize the pain's in the commentary, not the event. When you start observing your thoughts instead of getting lost in them, life gets way more manageable. It's kind of funny when you think about it. The mind's like a bad narrator who never shuts up but still acts like it knows everything. It'll turn a cloudy day into, "My life's going nowhere," and a compliment into, "They didn't really mean it." Once you catch on, you start laughing instead of believing it. You realize, wow, my brain's dramatic. That's the moment you stop suffering unnecessarily. Nguyen's point is that peace isn't about fixing all your problems, it's about changing your relationship with your thoughts. Events will keep happening, things will break, people will disappoint you, plans will change. But the moment you stop narrating everything as a personal tragedy, you stop suffering. Life gets simpler, lighter, and honestly way funnier. Because when you stop taking your mind so seriously, you start seeing the humor in it all. So maybe the next time something goes wrong, your flight's delayed, your boss criticizes you, your phone dies, pause and notice what your mind's saying. Is it creating suffering, or is it just describing reality? Because reality's usually fine. It's your commentary that's the problem. Once you see that, life becomes a lot like watching a movie where you don't get lost in the drama, you just enjoy the show, popcorn and all. And maybe that's what real peace is. Not a life without problems, but a life where your mind stops turning every moment into one. You ever have one of those moments where your mind is going nuts, like a squirrel on an energy drink, and then suddenly, you notice it? You catch yourself thinking and go, wow, my brain is really doing the most right now. That little moment right there, that's awareness. Joseph Nguyen calls it liberation because the second you become aware of your thoughts instead of being dragged around by them, they start losing their power over you. It's like realizing the scary movie you've been watching is just a movie. You stop screaming, lean back and think, okay, this is kinda entertaining. That's the magic of awareness. It turns chaos into calm, fear into understanding, and mental noise into background music. The truth is, most of us live trapped in our own minds without realizing it. We don't think, we are our thoughts. The mind says, you're not good enough, and we go, yeah, that must be true. The mind says, you're gonna mess this up, and we instantly panic like it's breaking news from CNN. But the moment you notice the thought, like actually see it as just a thought, you create space between you and it. That space is freedom. It's the difference between drowning in the ocean and sitting safely on the beach, watching the waves roll in and out. The waves are still there, but they don't drag you under anymore. Nguyen says this awareness is your true self, the still, peaceful consciousness that exists behind all experiences. It's that quiet observer that never changes, even when your thoughts, emotions, and circumstances do. Think of it like the sky. Clouds can roll in, storms can rage, lightning can strike, but the sky itself is never harmed. It just is. Your awareness is like that. Thoughts are clouds. Emotions are storms. Awareness is the infinite blue sky that holds it all without judgment. When you identify with the sky instead of the clouds, life suddenly gets a whole lot lighter. Now the problem is, the mind really hates this idea. It loves attention. It's like that loud friend who can't stand silence for more than 2 seconds. The moment you start getting quiet, your brain's like, wait, what about the bills? The future? That weird thing you said in 2018? It'll do anything to pull you back into thinking because that's how it stays in control. But here's the thing, thoughts only have power when you believe them. Once you observe them instead of believing them, they lose their grip. It's like realizing the magician's trick. You can't be fooled anymore. Let's say you're walking down the street and your mind says, everyone's staring at you. You look weird. Normally, you'd start panicking, adjusting your clothes, questioning your entire life. But awareness steps in and goes, interesting thought. Noted. Boom, just like that, the thought loses its bite. Because you saw it instead of becoming it. Awareness is like turning on the light in a dark room. The shadows disappear not because they were fought, but because you finally saw them clearly. The funny thing is, you don't have to create awareness. It's already there. It's not something you earn or learn. It's who you already are underneath all the mental noise. When you were a kid, before all the stress, judgment, and self-doubt piled on, you lived from pure awareness. You experienced things directly. Ice cream tasted amazing, rain felt fun, grass was fascinating. Then over time, the mind took over. It started labeling everything. This is good. This is bad. I'm not enough. I need to be better. Awareness got buried under layers of thought, but it never disappeared. It's still in you, waiting for you to notice it again. Nguyen explains that the moment you start observing your thoughts, you awaken the part of you that's beyond them. And that's powerful because your thoughts can't control something that's watching them. It's like a movie villain realizing the audience is watching. It loses its power because the spotlight of awareness exposes the illusion. You start realizing, wait a second, I'm not my worries, I'm not my past, I'm not even this constant mental chatter. I'm the one who's aware of all of it. And once you get that, even for a moment, life starts to shift. You stop being the storm and you start being the sky. Let's say you're feeling anxious before a big meeting. The mind goes, you're gonna mess this up. You're not ready. Everyone's judging you. Instead of spiraling, you take a step back and think, wow, my brain's really trying to protect me right now. That's awareness. You're no longer inside the anxiety, you're watching it. And as you watch it, it starts to fade. What? Because awareness doesn't feed the drama. It's neutral. It doesn't argue, it doesn't fix, it just observes. And that observation alone is enough to dissolve the thought's energy. You don't have to fight the darkness, you just have to turn on the light. What's wild is that this awareness is always calm, no matter what's happening. You could be angry, sad, or stressed, but if you zoom out just a little, you'll notice that underneath it all, something in you is completely still. Like a deep lake where the surface is choppy but the bottom is unmoved. That's your real self. The mind's chaos is just the surface level noise. Awareness is that quiet space underneath everything where peace always lives. You don't have to manufacture peace, it's what's left when you stop identifying with your thoughts. Here's the kicker. Awareness doesn't mean you stop thinking. You'll still have thoughts, they just stop running the show. Imagine your mind like a noisy roommate who talks nonstop. When you're unaware, you take everything they say seriously. But once you wake up to awareness, it's like realizing, oh, that roommate's kinda dramatic. You start listening, but you don't believe every word. They say, you're failing, and you just smile like, sure buddy. You take life less personally because you're no longer the main character trapped inside the script. You're the director watching it unfold. The coolest part? When you live from awareness, you stop being jerked around by every emotional wave. You start to see life more clearly. People can say what they want, circumstances can change, but you remain steady. It's not that you become emotionless, it's that emotions pass through you instead of owning you. Anger visits, sadness visits, joy visits, but none of them move in permanently. Awareness keeps the door open, lets everything flow through, and never clings. Nguyen's message here is simple but life-changing. Awareness is liberation. Not because it fixes your problems, but because it shows you that you were never trapped by them in the first place. The only prison was in your mind, built from stories you didn't know you were telling yourself. The moment you step back and see those stories, the walls crumble. You realize you're not the prisoner, you're the one watching the movie from the projection booth. It's kind of funny when you get it, too. You start laughing at your own brain. You'll catch it saying wild stuff like, you're doomed, and you'll go, wow, dramatic much? You stop taking yourself so seriously. Life starts to feel lighter, more playful. Because you're not lost in the noise, you're listening from the silence behind it. That silence isn't empty, it's full of peace, clarity, and truth. It's the real you, the awareness that's been there all along, just waiting for you to notice. So the next time your mind starts racing, telling you stories, stirring up emotions, or replaying old regrets, pause for a second. Take a breath. You know that feeling when you're trying so hard not to feel something that it just gets stronger? Like you're trying not to be angry, but every just calm down thought makes you want to punch a pillow even harder? Or when you're trying not to cry, and suddenly your throat feels like it's staging a rebellion? Yeah, that's what Joseph Nguyen means by resistance. When you try to fix, fight, or suppress an emotion, you actually feed it. It's like telling yourself, don't think about pink elephants. Boom, your brain just conjured a parade of pink elephants doing the cha-cha. Emotions work the same way. The harder you resist them, the louder they get. Nguyen says that real peace doesn't come from controlling your emotions. It comes from allowing them to exist without judgment. Sounds simple, right? But man, it's the hardest thing in the world because our minds are obsessed with control. We treat emotions like annoying pop-up ads. Nope, not dealing with that right now. Close, close, close. But the more you click X, the more pop-ups appear. What? Because emotions don't want to be fixed, they just want to be felt. They're like kids throwing a tantrum. If you ignore them, they scream louder. But if you sit down, listen, and let them get it out, they calm down on their own. We've all been trained to think emotions are problems. Sad? Cheer up. Angry? Be positive. Scared? Be strong. But that's like trying to stop waves with your hands. The more you fight, the more exhausted you get, and the waves just keep coming. The trick is to stop trying to control the ocean and start surfing it. When you allow yourself to feel an emotion without slapping a good or bad label on it, something amazing happens. It starts to dissolve naturally. It's not that the feeling disappears instantly, it just loses its grip because you're no longer giving it energy by resisting it. Let's say you're feeling anxious. Your brain immediately goes, oh no, not this again. I can't be anxious. I need to calm down. And then you start trying to breathe slower, think positive thoughts, distract yourself. Anything to get rid of the anxiety. But what's really happening? You're sending your brain a signal that anxiety is dangerous, something that shouldn't be there. So your body reacts like it's under attack, and bam, now you're even more anxious about being anxious. Welcome to the double anxiety club population. Us. Nguyen's point is that emotions are just energy moving through you. They're not personal, they're not permanent, and they're not problems. They're weather patterns in your emotional sky. Resistance is like shouting at the rain to stop. It just makes you wetter and more frustrated. But if you let it rain, if you just stand there and say, okay, this is happening, the storm eventually passes on its own. It always does. The only reason emotions hang around so long is because we keep pushing them away. It's funny because we think letting ourselves feel is weak, but it actually takes way more strength to sit with discomfort than to run from it. Society tells us to keep it together, stay positive, and not let emotions control us. But in trying to control them, we become controlled by them. When you finally drop the resistance, when you say, "Fine, sadness, you can sit here for a bit," you take away its power. You stop being the emotion and become the observer of it. You're no longer inside the storm, you're watching it from a safe porch with a cup of coffee, maybe even a blanket. The irony is, emotions are harmless if you let them move through you. But the moment you trap them, by suppressing, avoiding, or analyzing them, they fester. It's like keeping spoiled food in the fridge and wondering why everything starts to stink. Your mind's like, "We still got that old resentment from 2016 sitting in here." And you're like, "Oh yeah, I never dealt with that." Emotional energy needs to move. And it will move, if you stop blocking it. Think of emotions as guests visiting your house. Some are pleasant, like joy or excitement, and you're like, "Hey, come in, stay as long as you want." But when fear or sadness knocks, you pretend you're not home. You close the blinds, hide behind the couch, and hope they leave. But emotions are polite. They don't leave until they're acknowledged. The moment you open the door and say, "Okay, fear, what's up?" it usually says, "Just wanted to be seen," and then it quietly walks out. Resistance is what keeps the door locked and the emotion banging louder. We resist emotions because we believe feeling them will break us. But it's the opposite. Resistance is what drains us. Ever notice how when you finally let yourself cry after holding it in, you feel lighter? That's emotional release. Your body knows how to process emotions naturally. It's your mind that keeps interrupting the process. The moment you stop saying, "This shouldn't be happening," your nervous system relaxes and the emotion flows through. You don't need to manage your emotions like a boss. You just need to allow them like a good host. Nguyen compares it to quicksand. If you fight it, you sink deeper. But if you stop struggling and let yourself be still, you rise to the surface. It's the same with emotions. The harder you fight sadness, the heavier it gets. The more you try to fix anger, the more explosive it becomes. The second you stop resisting, you realize the feeling isn't as big or scary as your mind made it out to be. You see it for what it really is, just energy, just a wave. And here's the thing. Letting go of resistance doesn't mean you have to like the emotion. You don't have to pretend you enjoy feeling anxious or sad. You just have to stop fighting the fact that it's there. It's okay to not feel okay. When you give yourself that permission, you start to feel more okay naturally. It's like taking your hand off the stove, you stop adding fuel to the fire. Here's a simple way to try it. Next time you feel a strong emotion, pause. Don't analyze it. Don't run from it. Just notice it. Feel it in your body. Maybe it's tightness in your chest or a pit in your stomach. Just say, "Okay, this is here." Don't label it good or bad. Don't try to fix it. Just watch it. You'll notice that emotions are like waves. They rise, peak, and fade. The only reason they stick around is because you're mentally chasing them or pushing them away. What's wild is that when you allow your feelings, they often dissolve faster than you'd expect. It's like giving them permission to leave. Resistance keeps you stuck in the emotional mud, but acceptance lets the current carry you forward. You start realizing, wait, I don't have to control this. I can just feel it and move on. That's emotional freedom. Nguyen says that peace isn't about having no emotions, it's about not resisting the ones you have. Life will always bring ups and downs. You'll still feel anger, sadness, fear, joy, excitement. But when you stop labeling emotions as bad or wrong, they stop being problems. They just become part of the human experience. You start to see that emotions aren't obstacles, they're messages. They're like mail from your subconscious. You don't have to freak out when it arrives. You just read it, understand it, and let it go. So the next time you're feeling something heavy, don't go into battle with it. Don't try to fix, suppress, or positive think your way out. Just breathe, let it be, and remember, emotions are temporary visitors.